Another day in the Bill Mason Show. It's February 20th, 2020. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. And Trump's on. He's doing a rally tonight.
Colorado.
Yes. So we can go to him for a second, see what he's talking about. How about it?
Yeah, let's hit it.
But before we do that, just let you know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about tonight the virus. It is ravaging the whole China mainland, and of course, it's moving over to Iran, Ukraine. A lot of things
Yeah.
happening. We're going to have a lot of videos on that. We're
Yep.
going to talk about the debate last night. It was total, it was a total disaster.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about tonight. So let's go over to Trump and see what's going on with him. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I won't tell you about him yet, but he's a brilliant guy, right? I mean, he sold his crazy fighters. I mean, bomb, bomb, bomb. $4 billion he got with Fertitas, great people. But you know what? They're always showing it's full, it's full. These fakers back there, they don't want people. But I'll tell you what my wife said. They don't show it, but you can't imitate 15,000 people when it comes to the noise. Look, they won't show it. They never show it. And we've never had an empty seat from the day I came down the escalator, not one. And what these guys do, if Mr. and Mrs. Jones, sitting right up there, beautiful couple, if she said, darling, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it, darling, I have to go to the bathroom. He said, darling, I'll walk with you. The cameras glung onto those seats. They glung on. And they say there were 2 empty seats. Trump didn't fill up the rear. These are the worst people. But when I told them to spin around those cameras, they stayed that way. Now, if we had a protester somewhere in the arena, it could be up in that corner where it's loaded up with people. Those cameras, they look like a pretzel. They look like a pretzel. They want to find if there's trouble. Those same guys could cover anything. I used to think, well, it's the equipment. It's very rigid. They can't turn it. And then some idiot from up in the corner starts screaming stupid stuff. Of course, that's dangerous in this room, to be honest. We don't have it too much. They only pick on the guys that are all by themselves and aren't fighters. But if somebody up there does something, those cameras turn around, spin around like a pretzel. They bend, boom, they get... So that was the end of my theory that we have rigid equipment. Now, and by the...
All right. Well, that's Trump talking about the news media.
Oh, yeah.
He's
But
always good at doing that.
you know what's amazing about him? How he works the room. You almost feel like he's talking to just you, or like you're in like a small venue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like you're in a bar and he's telling a joke. I
Right.
mean, he just really does work the room. That's one thing that Bloomberg, he looks stuffy, rigid, like scripted.
Yeah, that's pretty
Uh,
scared.
yeah, he really is no match for Trump at all. No
No,
match.
no. So I mean, it's pretty wild at the Democratic debate last night. They tanked. Not a very good debate for them, especially for Bloomberg.
Man, it was terrible for Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Bernie, I mean, he said some dumb stuff, and actually, the one that maybe looked like had a few shining moments was Warren, because
Yeah.
Warren was taking the gloves off a little bit. But I mean, still, they tear each other down. Trump wins.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to show a video of the Democrat debate later on. First of all, we're going to talk about the virus. It's very serious.
Yeah.
What have you heard today, Bill?
I heard that the numbers that they are posting are not even close.
Hmm.
Not they're in the 300 to 350,000 dead and burned based on the guys that are working the furnaces,
Right.
saying they've been doing 12 to 1,500 people a day for 30 straight days. So I mean,
Wow.
come on, man, do the math. It's a lot.
That is a lot. We do have a video of bodies in the street, and it doesn't look good over there.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the bodies in the street, and and you can tell by that it's not good. Here we
It's
go.
terrible.
I mean, there you go. I mean, who's picking up those bodies?
That's what it's like garbage day. They're just like out there everywhere on the curb by the door. Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I never seen that before, only in movies.
Yeah, it's definitely it's more about them trying to save face as communists. Like I saw a couple of posts where they dress people up and you know, all the gear, the masks and everything, and they hold up the Chinese flag, and you know, they're doing like propaganda for this, like they're handling the situation well, and then they show all these guys, like, you know, ripping off the protective suits and masks and throwing them in the garbage and then getting in their cars and driving away. I mean, they're going to the empty, deserted places of China and taking these pictures like they're doing something.
Yeah, yeah, it's not good. So, I mean, we do have another video of somebody falling, and then, you know, it's like a sudden death syndrome. They shake.
Yeah, it's like
and-
a seizure and
yeah.
with blood, and yeah.
This is at a mall and in China. Is it China or Hong Kong? I don't know.
I think it's Hong Kong. It was
Yeah.
labeled HK or something. So
Okay, so Hong Kong. All right, here we go.
no one will go near the guy. Look at it.
No. Hopefully they're calling for help.
I don't see any phones out.
Mm-mm.
They're just letting him flop like a fish.
Yeah, it's not good. No one's helping the guy out.
No one will touch him, and everybody's just walking around like, oh well.
This guy here is,
He's got a phone. Okay,
yeah.
he feels bad. There's a woman on the phone. It looks like.
叫快啲啦，唔喐啦個人。
It's like a nice mall though.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they still have some commerce in Hong Kong, where commerce is pretty much shut down in most of what you would call Eastern China.
There we go. I mean, drop dead in the mall. People dropping dead. People on the side of the streets covered up.
Yeah, just left out for garbage.
It's not good. So here's the latest, by the way. Here's a map. The latest for the virus. This confirmed. This is not what the actual probably is. It's much higher.
Yeah, it's just what they want to release.
Yeah, 76,212 people confirmed had it.
Yeah.
Have it. 2,247 deaths. We're saying at least 100,000 people dead, though. That's not accurate.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have recovered, looks like. Some people have recovered. Of course, this is not a death sentence, if you get it. So, thank God, but...
Right. Unless you're really, really compromised, you know, they can pull you out of it. It's the problem is having the people, the staff.
Right.
You know, that's some of their hospitals are understaffed and they cannot handle it.
Yeah. As you can see, others, 634, that's cruise ships.
That's the cruise ship. And isn't that South Korea number jumped, isn't it?
It did. South Korea is
Wow.
jumping. Japan is jumping. See
Yeah.
the red dot is just jumping big time in Japan
Yep.
and South Korea.
Yep.
South Korea soldier was diagnosed today for the virus. So U.S. soldier was diagnosed. 2 people from Iran died today from the
Yeah,
virus.
I heard about that. And I also heard that a couple from Japan flew to Hawaii, landed in Hawaii, bebopped around, you know, went to all the touristy places, and then flew back home and tested positive for corona.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Not good. So, and there's supposedly thousands of people in quarantine in the United States.
Yeah.
7,000 alone in California.
Yep. and they're all on military bases.
Yeah, I mean, some of these are self-quarantine in their homes, but
Yeah.
there are people, of course, in quarantine in the U.S. bases. So we do have a video of they're talking about the Wuhan lab, and
Yeah.
so we're going to go to that. It's a pretty informative video. I think you'll like it. Here we go.
As the world struggles to contain the new virus, a new speculation from the Chinese scientists who believe it may have originated at a research facility not far from the Wuhan fish market. While they say more research needs to be done to find solid proof, such labs are known to contain disease-ridden animals, including hundreds of bats. Our Kim Hyo-sun with the details.
Amid the continued spread of the COVID-19 virus, there's rising speculation the virus could have originated from a government laboratory in Wuhan, rather than the widely held belief that it emerged from the city's Huanan seafood markets. Citing a report published by Chinese scientists, a Chinese-language newspaper published in Hong Kong, Mingpao, and the British daily The Mirror explained Sunday that the Wuhan Center for Disease Control, or WHCDC, could have spawned the contagion in Hubei province. According to the report penned by Bo Tao Xiao and Lei Xiao of the South China University of Technology, the research lab, which is only 280 meters away from the Huanan seafood market, kept disease-ridden animals, including more than 600 bats. It stated that while it's plausible the virus was leaked from the lab and contaminated initial patients in this epidemic, more solid evidence is required through future study. The report also raised a possibility that the Wuhan Institute of Virology could have leaked the virus while it was carrying out tests involving Chinese horseshoe bats. Against such a backdrop, an article published by the Washington Times late last month is garnering attention as it raised the possibility that the disastrous outbreak could be the accidental result of biological weapons research. This comes as a renowned law professor at Tsinghua University in Beijing, Xu Jianren, is known to be missing after publicly condemning Chinese President Xi Jinping for failing to contain the spread of the virus at an early stage. He even added the condemnation could be the last message of his life. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, if you
they probably
speak
killed
up,
him.
yeah, they definitely killed him. There's no missing in China for too long, man.
No, that's what the reporters saying. Like, yeah, last words, all that stuff. So
Yeah,
he's definitely gone.
he's definitely dead. And from another tweet that I had read from, I think the play is that the one that I think I might have sent you that. There's only 5 of these level 4 labs. So the one in Wuhan has like what they call negative pressure, air locks and stuff like that. Like you really have to be a biological weaponizing place to be level 4. There's only so many of them on Earth, and Wuhan was always touted when they built it that it was unlike the other ones, which are there's one in the United States and it's in like a rural area. There's a couple in Africa that are in a rural area, so they can contain something like this. But Wuhan is in a huge, densely populated area, so they kind of predicted this back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean this lab is also it was constructed with as a cooperation with France and China.
Yeah.
It was built by both them, and they worked together at this lab.
Yeah, and it's for the purpose of developing, weaponizing viruses.
Yeah, bioterrorism, or
Yeah.
also to figure out ways to stop viruses too as well.
Right.
So.
And that's what they claim. They always claim like, oh, we're doing research to stop these viruses, but when they stumble upon something, they're like, man, this thing's going to be a killer.
Right.
Somebody goes, save that.
Right. And then it gets out. Then the monkey gets it, or
Right.
the monkey scratched the guy, and you've seen the movies.
Yeah, well, the thing about that patient 0, I don't know if you saw that. So they got patient 0 who said, I never went to that wet market you're talking about. Like, I never was near there. As soon as I felt sick, I stayed home.
Right. Yeah, he was never there.
He was never there at that wet market. So if he's truly patient 0, they're lying.
Right. They got blaming on somebody. You can't blame it on the Wuhan, lab.
And bat soup.
Yeah, right. All right. So we got a a video from Iran, by the way. So if you look at it, you said, "Oh, this must be China." No, they're shutting down a city in Iran. Take a look.
اینم ماشینای قرنطینه ببینید.
That's definitely Arabic.
Yeah, they're shutting the city down. The military shutting it down.
Yeah.
It's called Qom, Iran.
Oh yeah. They have like 3 or 4 people, right? That positive.
Well, they say 20 people have died in this city.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're shutting that city down. That's going to be in quarantine.
Wow.
So you think it's only in China? No, it's in Iran. Confirmed 2 people died in Iran, but there is things floating around the internet saying there's 20 people dead, and there's a video of it.
Right.
So anyway.
And then I watched this afternoon these 2 people from the CDC, the supposed experts that are saying like, well, this isn't really something to worry about, and we're pretty safe, and the masks aren't going to help you, and all this stuff. They're like, just wash your hands. I mean, everywhere else in the world, they're locking cities down with millions of people. I mean, China is spraying Lysol out of water trucks.
Right.
I mean, this is not. It just doesn't add up. Like what people are saying and what's actually happening does not add up.
It does, and you're not going to quarantine 750 million people.
Right.
And it's nothing. It's just a flu.
Yeah. Don't worry. Just wash your hands.
You're good. Don't worry. Don't worry about wearing a mask either.
Yeah. That's exactly what she said. It was an Indian woman. I was kind of shocked. She was like, "Yeah, it's not going to help you."
Right. Well, it might not. You might still get it anyway. But anyway, so we do have another video of Iran too as well. I'm going to play.
Okay.
Here we go. They're loading this body up in the ambulance, and supposedly she has the virus. Anyway, they're taking her out. Actually, this is the hospital. Anyway, so yeah, they're in a hazmat outfit, and then load them in there.
Nothing to worry about though.
Yeah. Just wash your hands.
Just wash your hands. You're good.
Yeah, and then we have another video of Ukraine. Ukraine's trying to lock down the city, or put them in quarantine, and they're protesting for the quarantine.
Yeah, they got really bad conditions for those people.
Yeah, let's take a look and see what the protest's all about. Anyway, so you think it's only in China? No, it's everywhere. Almost.
I think that everybody is going to have to deal with this, especially these big cities. I mean, me being in proximity close to Philadelphia worries me a little bit. But I mean, the other thing that shocked me that I heard today is that 94% of our antibiotics and viral meds are made in China. So they're not able to keep up with the demand anyway. So we put all our eggs in that Chinese basket, and now we can't get products, including the medicines and stuff like that. Like this could be bad.
Yes, I mean, if it kills off, 10% or more of the Chinese people, I mean, and it keeps on coming back, because you can get it again and again.
Yeah, well, Spanish flu, they're comparing this to worse than Spanish flu. And you know what Spanish flu did? It cut half the population.
Yeah, 100 million people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. So, all right. So we do have a video. Now, the United States evacuated people from the cruise ship Princess. So that cruise ship was ravaged with the coronavirus. So we're going to show a picture of them being evacuated and them on the plane.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow, that box is where they're in that box.
I don't know what they do in that box.
That's got a biohazard symbol on it and an airlock.
Yeah.
I think they're in that.
The worst
box.
patients are in there.
Yeah.
Well, they're on good spirits.
Well, I'm sure they want to go home.
Oh yeah.
That looks like a converted C5 Galaxy or something. Like that's one of those big nose open planes, man.
Yeah, just similar to the one they sent for the other one. So
Yeah.
So that's the plane that they brought them back on. Thank God they're back on the U.S. soil,
Man.
and hopefully they recover. But we'll see. I did hear that two people from the Princess did die.
Yeah, I heard that too.
87 and 84 years old, male and female. So, but anyway, so let's go back to politics. I want to see where Trump is.
Yeah, see what he's talking about. What stage of his chats, his barroom chats he's in.
All right, let's take a look.
And they just sold the company. He started it off for about $30, and they just sold it for $4 billion. And the people that bought it said, we're not buying it unless Dana White stays back and runs it. So Dana White, come on up. He's now a very wealthy guy. Come here. You want to hear from him? Yes.
What's up, Colorado? How are you today? So, I'm not a very political person, I'll start there, but let me say this. There's things that I can tell you about the President of the United States that you don't hear on TV and you don't hear from other people. Like you said, I've known this man for 20 years. We've actually become even closer since he's become the President of the United States. When somebody becomes the President of the United States, you don't ever expect to hear from them again, okay? And I understand it. It absolutely makes sense. This guy is so loyal and such a good friend. Every time I see him, I saw him today. When I met him on Air Force One, the first thing he said to me is, how is your family? How is your family? Good man, very loyal, and a very good friend. I see a lot of things from Mr. Trump that the public doesn't see. And the people who surround me every day see how this man treats me as a friend and other people he's friends with. He's a fighter. He loves this country. He's doing great things for this country, and we got to win this election again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
He must be wrapping it up, I think, if he's doing the rah-rah with local politicians and
Yeah.
stuff.
All right. So anyway, UFC was sold, looks like, to somebody today for $4 billion.
$4 billion.
Yeah. So, but Dana White's going to be running it. So UFC will probably be the same old, same old.
Yep.
All right. So I watched a little bit of that. But anyway, so let's go to the debate last night. So I know you love the debate. What happened last night?
I do.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I love the way they set up Bloomberg all the way to the end, kind of like a baseball picture where, you know, the tallest guys are in the middle and then they kind of like taper down like on the side.
Yeah.
So they put him next to Warren. And
So he did get a box to stand on.
He was definitely standing on something because the camera would never get all the way to the side so you could see what he was standing on.
Okay.
But he looked very stiff, like he was afraid to step backwards. Like the rest of the candidates, as you watch them, like Biden's very animated and moving around, and
Right.
Warren is animated, and he's kind of like looking like, oh man, if I back up, I'm falling off this thing.
Right. He can't back up.
No,
So 4'11".
not at all.
You say
Yeah.
he's 4'11", right? So
That's what they say. I mean, now I'm seeing conflicting things. It's almost like a boxer when they lie about their reach and their weight and stuff. So now it's 5'4", 5'1".
okay.
I guess it depends on the shoes. If he's
Right.
got like the Bruno Mali's on, or he's wearing like something with a lift.
Well, we all love small people, right?
Yeah, I don't mind small
Yeah.
people. I just think that it's one of the things that he's very self-conscious about.
Yeah.
Trump said he goes way back with Bloomberg,
Right.
and he said Bloomberg, when they would like go out on the town, would be like, "Hey, listen, don't stand too close to me. You make me look small."
Right.
So Trump knows that personally about him, that he does not like that to be brought to attention. So of course he's going to use it.
Right, and that's the reason we call him Mini Mike.
Exactly.
Right.
He knew right away. How am I going to get Mike? Oh, he hates being called short. I got him.
All right, well, let's take a look at the little clip here we have of the debate. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm a New Yorker. I know how to take on an arrogant con man like Donald Trump, and we can't stand that.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
You should also ask how Mayor Bloomberg in 2004 supported George W. Bush for president.
The mayor says that he has a great record, that he's done these wonderful things. Well, the fact of the matter is he has not managed his city very, very well when he was there.
Senator Klobuchar, my colleague specifically asked you if you could name the president of Mexico, and your response was no.
You're literally in part of the committee that's overseeing these things.
Are you trying to say that I'm dumb, or are you mocking me here, Pete?
I'm saying that you shouldn't trivialize
I made
that
an error.
Next question is hello. Thank you.
The best-known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What did I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, House 1.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, House 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp. Forgive me for that. Where is your home? Which tax haven do you have your home?
New York City, thank you very much.
You shouldn't have to choose between one candidate who wants to burn this party down and another candidate who wants to buy this party out.
If speaking to the needs and the pain of a long-neglected working class is polarizing, I think you got the wrong word.
I've apologized, I've asked for forgiveness, but the bottom line is we stop too many people, and we've got to make sure that we do something about criminal justice in this country. I make a lot of money. They'll be out in a few weeks, and that's just as fast as I can do it.
He has gotten some number of women, dozens, who knows, to sign non-disclosure agreements, both for sexual harassment and for gender discrimination in the workplace.
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is that?
Let me finish.
How many is that?
None of them accuse me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke I told. And let me point.
I just want to be clear. Some is how many? And when you say they signed them and they wanted them, if they wish now to speak out and tell their side of the story about what it is they allege, that's now okay with you? You're releasing them on television tonight?
Senator, no.
Is that
right? There we go.
That's what I'm saying. The only one who shined a little bright turned out to be Warren, because she backed Bloomy into a corner, and he was like,
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, he really didn't know what to say.
Yeah, there's supposedly like how many people? How many women?
What's it? TMZ apparently said it's 8. It's eight women that signed non-disclosure agreements, but that's all they could get.
Okay.
But honestly, 8, that's a lot. I mean,
that's a lot. Yeah,
that's a lot.
For just saying a joke, he said a lot of dirty jokes.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, all right. So that was the debate. So wild night, very entertaining.
Yeah, entertaining for I think if you're a Democrat and you're trying to pick one of those people,
That wasn't entertaining.
that was not entertaining for you. You were going, oh my God, no.
Right.
The whole time. Every time Buttigieg talked, if you were a Buttigieg fan before this, every time he talked, you were like, no, Pete, stop. Because he would either talk about African American people, how he's gonna specialize and focus on their ineptness, and then everybody's like, ooh, did he say that? I mean, it was crazy. And Klobuchar, she just lost her stuff a few times. Like everybody says, she's a lunatic to her staff. So I mean, it was cringeworthy the whole time if you were a Democrat, but if you were a Republican, it was funny.
It was funny, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we do have something else for you tonight. We have Gorka talking about the Democrats too as well, and he really put it out there pretty straightforward. I think you'll like this. Let's take a look.
Yeah, he's so smart.
He is.
We are getting even every day is increasing the chances of a contested Democrat convention later this year. The idea that you look at the front runners for the Democrat Party and all you have is rich white people or rich white communists like Bernie Sanders. And you scratch your head and you say, hang on a second, this is the party that says they're for the underdog, they're for the working class, they're for minorities, they're all about standing up for the victims of America. And Michael Bloomberg is potentially one of their candidates. Bernie Sanders, who honeymooned in the Soviet Union with his wife, who's an American Jew, and the Soviet Union was one of the most anti-Semitic regimes in the world. When you have somebody who's lied repeatedly, like Senator Warren, about her ethnic background, lied on applications to the Texas bar, lied about it when she was a professor at Harvard getting $200,000 for teaching one course a semester. This is the Democrat Party. If you look at the president's cabinet, there you'll see diversity, but not in the Democrat Party.
Boom.
Boomy.
Oh, man. That was great. I mean, that really does sum it up because even people don't know, Elizabeth Warren has a trust fund that's worth well in excess of $500 million. So she's filthy rich too.
Right.
I mean, they all are not hurting for money, and most of that, well, I think Pete Buttigieg is not really loaded, but he's still a millionaire.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're all rich, and then of course, but there is diversity. You got Warren she's an Indian, right?
Well, sure. And actually, when Andrew Yang dropped out, she went to her 23andMe, and she's 0.0065 Asian.
Okay,
so
well, there you go.
She's also the only Asian left.
Yeah. Well, she's more Asian than she is Indian.
Yes, she is. So she can claim that.
Yeah.
I mean.
All right. Well, good. American Indian, by the way. So
yes, Native American.
Native American. All right. Well, I mean, so we do have a video for you too as well about Bloomberg, but we're going to show the polls. Let's take a look at the polls real quick and see where we're at today. This is today. Looks like Biden went ahead of Bloomberg today. It was flip-flopped. Now it's Sanders, Biden, and Bloomberg. So there you have it.
I am just amazed at Klobuchar just not really moving at all. No matter what she does, she really can't get above, what is that, 6%? I mean, wow.
Yeah, around 6%. She's there. She's at 5.6 to be exact.
Right.
Warren's at 12. Buttigieg is 10.6.
Yeah.
Bloomberg 16. Biden 16. And then Sanders 25. So I don't think anything's going to stop Sanders. Sanders is going to take it away unless they try to pull some,
Oh, I'm sure they will. They're definitely going to pull something. They do not want Bernie. I know that.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go to the Bloomberg ad and see what he has to say in his ad, okay?
Oh, he's such an idiot.
Morning again in America. And under the leadership of President Trump, more men and women will live in fear of a mass shooting than ever before. Wildfires will rage and hurricanes will pummel the coast. We'll be one Supreme Court judge from losing a woman's right to choose. And veterans will be waiting for their health care. It's morning again in America. And under the leadership of President Trump, our country has become more divided than ever. America, we deserve better. Mike Bloomberg will bring us together. As mayor, he rebuilt the city. As our next president, he'll reunite a nation to face the big challenges and work to rebuild America together. Let's make tomorrow morning better than today.
What a stupid slogan.
There you go. He's going to bring us together.
Oh my God. And you know what's crazy is that I watched the first thing and he's like, wildfires and hurricanes that batter our shores. Is that Trump's fault?
That is Trump's fault. There's never been any hurricanes or fires before Trump.
I mean, I've been on this earth for 4 decades, and I remember fires and hurricanes almost every single one.
Nope, it only happened during Trump administration.
Oh my God. And then, you know, the fear of mass shootings. There were more mass shootings under Obama than I can even remember. I mean,
there was tons.
This guy is just painting a picture that it's just fiction.
Yeah.
Complete fiction. I mean, I know he's paying people for this propaganda and stuff like that. And I feel bad that there is a part of America where they watch those videos and they go, oh my God, the wildfires are Trump's fault. And they, you know, they believe it. They're just the low information voters that he's going for.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the other day we had in St. Augustine, they were trying to say, what's the State of the Union address? And no one in St. Augustine knew what it was.
See, that's so sad. That really is. That's sad. And I think it comes from like years of indoctrination, taking the important stuff out of schools, you know, from public schools, and then once they get to college, they're taken away. They want them to willfully give up their individualism, and then they want to be part of a collective. Which guess what? You see what goes on in China when you're part of the collective. You're like, yeah, you're 68, you're not worth treating. Yeah, you're 55, you're not worth treating either. Oh wow, where's the cutoff, man? You know, you're an infant, you're only a year old. Whatever, garbage can.
Right.
I mean, you become part of a collective, like you're rubbish, garbage. They just you end up on the street. And these people are willing to give it up and not know their history, and that's the saddest part.
That's true. I mean, no one knows where the Star Spangled Banner came from, how that was created. I mean, there's a lot of things that people have no idea that should know. So
I talked to a kid in college. He has a bachelor's degree. I was like, did you ever read the Federalist Papers? He's like, is that a newspaper? I was like, no way, man. Are you? Wow.
Right.
He's like, no, we never had to in college. I was like, I went to community college. I had to read the Federalist Papers. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Oh well. So let's go. You want to go see what Trump's doing now?
Yeah. Why not?
Let's go.
Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. Who the hell knows? If you don't love them, don't leave that beautiful farm to your children. Give it to somebody else, okay? They don't treat you well, don't leave them a damn thing. Are you listening, Donnie? Are you listening, Donnie? I also took... No, it is true. That's a big deal. You know, farmers were leaving their ranch and their farms, and people were leaving their small businesses to their family, and they were being assessed and valued much higher in many cases than it was worth. You couldn't do it. They'd go out, your kids would go out and borrow a lot of money. They'd end up losing their business, losing your farm that was in your family for 150 years. You know what happens. And they're good kids, and maybe they'll never be you. They can't farm like you, and maybe they can't, and maybe they can. Maybe they're better. But you know what? They'd go out and they'd borrow a lot of money, and they'd lose the farms. The number is staggering. We got rid of it. No more death tax, no more inheritance tax. And I also took the strongest ever action to confront China's massive theft of American jobs. What they've done to us over the years, we were losing 200 billion, 300, 400, 500, not million, billion, not million. You know, 500 million would be a lot, right? We're talking about 500 billion. They were taking it. Our strategy worked. We put tariffs up 25% on the first 250 billion. Billions of dollars poured into the United States. They devalued their currency and they pumped money in. We didn't pay for it, despite the fact that these guys, they like to say they did. We didn't pay for it. And I'll tell you what, China came to the table and we made a deal that's great for us, and hopefully it's great for them. And last month, as you know, we signed a groundbreaking trade agreement with China that will defend our workers, protect our intellectual property, and boost American exports. $250 billion worth of purchases, $50 billion worth of farm agricultural purchases, $50 billion.
All right, well, there he is. So anyway, so it's good news about China. Hopefully they'll be able to pay for it after this virus.
Yeah, I hope they all live to purchase this stuff that
Right.
they're supposed to purchase.
Right. Oh boy. All right, so that's the show tonight. Do you have any last words?
No. Well, yes, I do. I always say no, but actually I do. I want to give a shout out to West Virginia, who passed, or they didn't pass it yet. They're voting on House Bill 4168, which is basically nullifying anything that the state of Virginia does and anything that goes against the Second Amendment. All of their sheriffs and law enforcement are not to enforce anything. And it's called the Preservation of the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. So big ups to West Virginia for going that route. And some of Virginia just might turn into West Virginia real soon if they keep it up with the assault weapons ban. So this is turning out to be maybe a big enough game changer for that region that wakes everybody up across the country. I'm really hoping.
That'd be great if West Virginia just gobbles up Virginia.
It will take probably most of it. The DC area, Virginia will shrink to like a bagel-sized version that surrounds DC. And then, I mean, maybe they'll have some beaches left. But other than that, the mountain regions are not going to have it. Not happening.
Well, good for them. Yep. All right. Well, I wish you subscribe to our channel and listen to us again. We're on Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
Yep.
And you have a wonderful night.
Yep. Good night, everybody.